Good day and good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Gold Standard Podcast. I am your host, Jorge Enrique Bravo, coming to you on the beginning of another week after a really nice weekend. Today, my special guest is Mark Davis. He is CEO of SteelGlide. He owns a family business that has spent the last 50 years perfecting a lubricant that keeps flanged wheel equipment running safely and quietly. This runs between NFL stadiums all the way to mining equipment. Today we get into why this low-cost product carries some of the highest ROI in these industries and how preventive maintenance really works with this sort of technology. We covered 3 points. We covered how predictive maintenance is really about safety and saving money, how a worn wheel is not just a squeak, it can climb the rail, fail, and send tons of metal loud crashing down. So keeping equipment safe and quiet is really important. Another point is growing this one product company expansion of this business into a full preventive maintenance kit, pushing into short line rail and taking an old school hands-on industry into the digital age. The third point is the return on investment most companies overlook. When a line stops at Tesla, Nissan, or a steel plant, you're not just losing an hour, you're losing millions in opportunity costs and over a tiny consumable. We closed on the idea that it's always better to have preventive than corrective maintenance, and that the real edge is solving the whole problem, not the half of it. And finally, if you'd like to learn more about business insights and the industries that are shaping our civilization today, follow the gold standard of business. We have weekly talks with CEOs, with different leaders of the industries who are driving this space forward. Up next is my conversation with Mark Davis. I hope everyone had a nice weekend, and I hope you all stay safe. Thank you very much.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you here today. Mark Davis, CEO of SteelGlide. Please, if you could do a quick introduction, tell us a little bit about SteelGlide. What is it that you guys do?
Yeah, sure. I'm again Mark Davis, CEO and president. This is a family-owned company, so I've been around this thing a very long time. And my formal education is engineering. I'm an electrical engineer. And my background has been software systems, heavy-duty software systems. We're talking, telephony and defense and things like that. Big retail. I've seen it all. Logistics, transportation, and because I've been exposed to so many industries, I'm bringing more perspective to the company, and the company really is about one thing, and that is keeping people safe. Our product, as part of a PM regimen, keeps people safe. It makes operating equipment nearly trouble-free, especially as it regards the movement of that equipment. And the cool thing is, we don't care what kind of equipment it is. If it's an overhead crane, fantastic. If it's a short run train, fantastic. We don't care. If it's got a wheel shaped like this in cross section, hangs on the rail, that's what we do. And one cool application that people aren't aware of is we're on almost every Superdome in the country. So when you talk about, Cowboys at AT&T, when you talk about Falcons at Mercedes, SEC Championship at Mercedes, all those things. We Arthur Ashe, where they hold the U.S. Open tennis tournament. Anything that's got a retractable roof, we're on that too. So it's a simple product, but it's got diverse applications. We're even in the food industry. We're lubricating some high-speed equipment in foods. It's for such a tiny company, we got an enormous international reach.
I can already just imagine. I mean, obviously, those are large names. AT&T Stadium, Mercedes, Arthur Ashe, but then even just like the conveyor belts of the kitchens, where they bring out the food, anything that has moving parts, you help mitigate the risk and just keep the safety going. So those are really great names and really great kinds like that you have. And you said that you are a roughly smaller company, but you have a very large international range. Could I ask, how do you find your clients? Where do they come from? Any particular methods or new methods that you guys are using to get this reach?
Yeah, so when I was growing up, my parents didn't do very much for marketing they would send out mailers, the little postcard flyers about the company. But they'd go to trade shows, network, meet people, and then word of mouth was the way the company made its way up until um, really 2 years ago when I took over. And then we started doing things like digital marketing and magazine advertising, online ads, doing podcasts with guys like yourself. These are things that, my parents being, quiet people, they, they wouldn't have really gone for it. My dad was so introverted, he never would have done anything like that. Nevertheless, they ran a very successful, healthy company all that time. And now, Dad, before he passed, asked for two things. He charged me with two things, so it's a solemn oath. He charged me with taking care of his customers first, because Dad, even in passing, Dad didn't want to abandon his customers. And then beyond that, he said, grow the business. I was like, dang, I can do the customer part, but growing the business, okay, I'll figure that out. And we are figuring it out. We're seeing some growth now. We're seeing some success in our marketing efforts. It's starting to take off, and that's really exciting.
It's really it's really incredible that, well, first of all, that's a great conviction that you have, and I can respect that completely. It takes time and it's great, but I think it's genius what you're doing, that we were a one product company, and now you are expanding to add more to the inventory, and it's really interesting what you were talking to me about the new product that you're kind of releasing, kind of high level, not going public yet with the joint ventures that you guys are beginning. But I'm curious, in terms of this new line of product that you guys are releasing, could you expand a little bit about on that, and also what sort of marketing efforts are you looking to take on that? Anything that would require to increase the outreach?
Sure. The product that we're adding will result in at least 6 new SKUs, 6 new products that we're offering in our portfolio. And the product complements our own for preventive maintenance. There are only two things that are required, absolutely required, for a flanged wheel to last a very long time. One, you've got to lubricate the flange itself, and that's where the wheel is rubbing against the rail. This is the primary wear on a wheel, right? Sorry, I'm throwing my hands around, but this is the primary wear right here.
Yeah.
Second thing you got to take care of, and there are just two. Second thing you got to take care of is the bearing. So there's a bearing, there's two of them in every wheel. If you don't maintain those, then what you're doing with our product is only solving half the problem. You're not keeping the equipment as safe as you could. And for that reason, we are pretty excited about bringing this additional line of products, because it will provide the total package for taking care of wheels.
When we were speaking earlier, you definitely were mentioning, and it's really important that right at the point of friction, that's kind of where when you hear that noise, it's like metal just scraping and coming off, and it's wearing down. So
yeah, if you can hear it, it's wearing out.
If you can hear it, it's wearing down. And also, I mean, apart from just like user experience, where people don't want to hear squeaking, like it's gonna deteriorate. So that's really important to have for any industry.
See, you nailed that. So imagine if you're sitting watching a football game, right? You're watching the Falcons play, and the operators of the stadium decide they're going to open the dome. Nobody sitting in those seats wants to hear squeak, screech, bang up over their heads with, tons and tons of metal in the sky. Nobody wants to hear that sound, and that would destroy the fan experience.
Absolutely.
So you're exactly right. Those noise, the noise in any circumstance is unpleasant. But in that particular circumstance, it's affecting, it could conceivably affect attendance. It could affect money.
Oh yeah.
But, from our perspective, maybe those, big panels aren't going to fall out of the sky. But getting up to the roof of, say, Mercedes or AT&T and T and working on that stuff, I don't even know how you get there, right? It is so high in the air. Put our product on it and run it for a bit. On these Superdomes, our product lasts for years without a refill on those Superdomes. Now, in other circumstances, like heavy use cranes in manufacturing, in steel, at Tesla's our customer. At Nissan's our customer. Toyota. In these places, they don't want to hear the cranes overhead making noise because it's not safe. And it's disconcerting. It's troubling to the people on the ground. They don't want to hear that stuff up there either. It's scary, especially when the cranes go bang. That is startling.
It's lots of use cases because user experience is the most is very, very important, but also just safety is really important. And I know that there's a lot of different use cases for your product, all different industries. In terms of certain industrial projects, like for example, if we're talking about the mining projects, if you're not moving material, you're not making money. Those are your words. But sometimes these movements in the heavy industries, because of the friction equipment, it can lead to equipment failures. So how does your product using predictive maintenance and predictive safety like actually keep people out of harm's reach?
So the danger with an overhead crane is that it could eventually fail, and either having to repair it. Repairing a crane is a lot of work. You've got to essentially take it apart and get it on the ground, right? Uh, a chore for a crane that's multiple tons in gross weight. How does it keep people safe? Now, if a crane's not operating properly up in the sky, it could conceivably actually come off a rail and fall, which would be catastrophic, right? But there can also be, really jerky handling. So what happens is that if there's enough friction, enough wear, the wheel actually climbs off the track and then bangs down again. And that bang is actually a mechanical impulse that's transferred into the load that the equipment's carrying. So you're putting strain on everything in the path to the load. And again, you're putting people at risk because if any of that stuff breaks, anything between the crane and the load, it comes ripping down out of the sky. It doesn't just fall because it's under tension. It comes down like it's just, got a rocket ship behind it. That's the way that our product helps to keep people safe in a manufacturing environment. But the opportunity cost, and companies take this into consideration too, it's not just about safety. The opportunity cost in some of these big outfits, like Tesla. If Tesla stops for an hour, how many of those cars don't get made? How many cars don't go out the door? If we're talking about a steel company like USX, it's another model, ArcelorMittal, those kinds of companies. If you stop a line, which is continuously operating, not only are you losing the opportunity cost, but it takes a while to start everything back up. So millions of dollars, if not an hour, then a day, millions of dollars that are being lost, all for something that's only got, one tiny comma in it from us. It's ridiculously high ROI.
That is ridiculously high ROI. And all these industries, a truckload, of just like concentrates, that if it stops, or a crane load, like that is, if not hours, definitely days. I totally agree. It's the ROI is great, and it's better to be preventive than corrective. I totally agree. So that's incredible that you guys are opening up a new line of product. I think that's incredible. You're working on the marketing efforts. And apart from that, any particular like business challenges that you guys are hoping to overcome this upcoming year? Anything that you're hoping to, like, any new regions you're looking to expand into, kind of industries or contracts that you guys are hoping to secure?
New markets, yeah. So we want to get farther into short line rail. So we're talking about switch yards, very short runs between, say, switch or loading and the actual long line train. All of that stuff benefits from our product, and I want to get farther into that. We don't have the word of mouth that we have in cranes. We don't have that word of mouth in the short line train community. That's where my marketing efforts are focused because I want to open up that market. It's a good market, I'm sure.
It does sound like a really good market. Is that work more based on like referrals, or are you guys like going to be doing any events to like showcase, or any digital marketing efforts that you're doing?
So yeah, we'll be at an event in May. There's an event in Pittsburgh, and it's
Nice.
for iron and steel. So iron and steel, not cranes, is uh, is a great place for us to go and pitch our product. The thing about iron and steel is it's got almost everything that we would take care of anyway, from short line rail to in building rail. Many of these places have a rail line that runs through the manufacturing facility. We have acquired HubSpot, and we're using that for email marketing campaigns. Um,
Very
I'm
nice.
I might add outbound sales later this year. I'm going to wait and see how the company responds to the other advertising and marketing channels before I actually go for outbound. But I've got a company lined up that can help me with outbound, so I don't have to go try to recruit salespeople. I'm not really equipped for that. Um, in terms of my experience, salespeople are just, they're so important that you want to make sure you get good ones. And I'd rather
Yes.
have another company that's finding me good ones than try to do it myself. I've got enough on my plate.
Yes.
I don't need to be hiring in a sector where I don't have expertise.
Mark, I love it. It's incredible growth for the company. If someone wanted to learn more about these line of products, or get in touch with you, or just learn more about the company, what's the best way to get in touch or to do this?
If you want to understand the product, you can go to our website. We've got on the landing page, we've got an animation of how the product actually performs, how it works. And then within the website, we got a lot of documentation about how to get it installed, what it's good for. Everything that you need is on the website to understand the product. If you want to get in touch with me, the best way is to message me in LinkedIn. I'm J. Mark Davis. My first name's John. I don't know why my parents didn't call me John, but here we are. So I'm J. Mark Davis. If you want to go find me on LinkedIn, I'd be more than happy to talk to anybody on LinkedIn. It's a great platform for us.
I agree. It's definitely a great platform for networking and getting to know all of our colleagues in the industry. So that's great. Mark, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for doing this call with us. It would be a pleasure to have you again and hear more about how the marketing efforts are going. And thank you so much for being here with us today.
I'd love to speak to you again. I'd love to be able to bring more to your audience. I'll be able, if we talk again later in the year, I'll be able to give you some feedback on how I'm doing with digital marketing in an industry that's not very digital. It's very hands-on. It's dirty, it's noisy, it's really loud in manufacturing plants, especially where they're making steel.
Oh yeah.
So certainly a loud environment. Our product at least helps to alleviate some of that.
Absolutely, Mark. It's going to be a pleasure to continue the conversation. Thank you so very much.